everybody can join in welcoming Mr. Ken to the front for a speech, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Canadian Tamil Congress, I would like to thank you for inviting us to speak. There are many similarities between the situation which is faced by the Tamils of Sri Lanka and what Kurds have gone through a few years back. The Kurds are an unfortunate people in the past, like the Tamils are today. They have been without a home to call their own, despite many unfulfilled promises by West to establish the nation of Kurdistan. This is an old story, and I'm sure all of you are very familiar with it. And I was very surprised in my research when I went through that how many promises had been made to the people of Kurds to establish their own independent country, and yet none of these promises were fulfilled by the Western nations for many reasons, most of which were related to self-interest. As a result, like the Tamils, they have been subject to colonialism under Saddam, where Iraqis were settled on traditional Kurdish land, aimed at displacing the Kurds. This harassment increased over the years into outright genocide, culminating in the Anfal program of 1988, which we've just seen a very moving picture. While Saddam and his henchmen have been brought to justice, it is unfortunate that there has never been any commission or inquiry on the genocide visited on Kurds by the Ba'athist regime. I mean, yes, they have all been, most of them have been captured, a lot of them have been executed. But by and large, they were executed for crimes against the Iraqis and the Iraqi people, not for their specific role in the genocides of the Kurds. Whatever punishment that was meted out to Saddam and his cohorts were for their sins against the Iraqi people and not specifically for the horrendous genocide committed against the Kurds. A commission of inquiry would have been useful in a number of ways. It would have been a catharsis for the survivors. It would have brought the world's attention the suffering of people underwent for no fault of their own. And most importantly, it would have woken the attention of the civilized nations of the earth to the harm a determined, unscrupulous and immoral regime could inflict on its own people, especially if those people constitute a minority. They are not safeguarded by the laws of the land. While I was doing my research for this speech, I found a number of parallels between Tamils and the Kurds. But before I talk to you about what is happening to the Tamils now, and why this is taking place, I would like to mention how happy we, the Tamils, are for you over the establishment of the Kurdistan region in Iraq, and the fact that it is one of the most peaceful places in that country, and how G7 and G20 nations are looking forward to investing in that region. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
That's fine. Yeah. So that is something really wonderful for us to know, that after going through this period of tragedy and this horrendous genocide which was visited on you, you have come through that and you have essentially come as victors. And now Kurdistan is one of the most peaceful and safe regions in Iraq, which is still going through its growing pains as it tries to go from dictatorship to democracy. As I speak on this platform, a humanitarian catastrophe is taking place in the Tamil villages in the north and the east of Sri Lanka. Over 200,000 Tamils are entrapped within 300 square kilometers in the conflict zone, cut off from basic necessities such as food, clean water, shelter, and medicine. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Ms. Nabi Pillay, has stated that 2,800 civilians have been killed and more than 7,000 wounded since January 20th, 2009. Reporters Without Borders have stated that Sri Lanka is the third most dangerous country in the world for journalists. Since 2006, over 14 journalists have been killed and several detained without charges. You will be very familiar with this. Whenever a majority tries to inflict tyranny and genocide on a minority, one of the first things that they do is they eliminate the possibility of honest and clear reporting, getting out of that place where they are committing the genocide to the outside world. And that's exactly what Sri Lanka is doing. And that is what Saddam did to you. As the conflict has escalated, the government censorship of media has also intensified. As Arundhati Roy, the global best-selling author of the famous book, The God of Small Business, I believe, writing for the Times of India, pointed out the Sri Lankan government is using the propaganda of the war on terror as a fig leaf to dismantle any semblance of democracy in the country. I mean, that's exactly what Saddam did to you all. I mean, he said that you all were terrorists, that you all should be eradicated, that you should not be allowed to fight for your legitimate reasons. And this is exactly what the Sri Lankan government is doing to the Tamils of Sri Lanka. Working on the principle that every Tamil is a terrorist, unless he or she can prove otherwise, civilian areas, hospitals and shelters are being bombed and burned and turned into war zones. Journalists working for the Agence France press reported that I had never seen anything like it. Even under Iraqi Saddam Hussein, foreign journalists had more freedom of movement. So this is even equal or worse than in terms of the limitations on the press. The Sinhalese are frequently dumped in the northern and eastern district of Sri Lanka. The Sinhalese are the majority race of Sri Lanka. While on a personal basis, they are good people. They have been misled by their leaders to thinking that Sri Lanka is the land of the Sinhalese and minorities have no rights within Sri Lanka. Exactly the same vision in which Saddam fashioned his war on the Kurdish people. The Sinhalese were frequently dumped in the northern and eastern district of Sri Lanka, the districts where the Tamils form an absolute majority. This process of colonization has been taking place ever since the independence of Sri Lanka in 1948. I am sure that you, my Kurdish friends, have considerable experience of this decade, whereby members of the majority community are slowly settled in the traditional homelands of the minorities, so that the demographic ratios change, and more importantly, minorities lose their identity being assimilated over a period of time. So that is one way of eliminating the pesky minority problem. Let's colonize their areas with the majority, let's assimilate them and essentially eradicate them. So this goes hand in glove with actual physical genocide or actual physical harassment. For tyrants and for those who do not believe in the rights of minorities, this is a long-term solution that eliminates the need to address the legitimate demands of any minority. That is what was done to you previously, and that's what is being done to us now. Due to the colonization, the increase in the Sinhalese population in east of Sri Lanka from 1963 to 1971 was 3 times compared to a decrease in the Tamil population. In Trichinopoli, the capital city of the Tamil population in the east of the island, there were less than 30 people in 1898 compared to 300,000 in 1982, whereas the Tamil population reduced by 30% during the same period. A very clear indication of the objectives of the government in trying to limit or eliminate the Tamils in their traditional homelands. Therefore, there has been a constant and calculated move to finish the Tamils off, deprive them of their legitimate rights, and make them virtually second-class citizens. As far as independence, successive Sinhala-dominated governments have invited hatred against the Tamil minority. Opposing Sinhala parties sought to win power by outbidding the others on platforms that furthered the Sinhala majority and placed the Tamils at a disadvantage. This is a favorite approach. I mean, when you can't solve the issues of the country, the economic issues, the need to provide basic rights to all of its citizens, basic medical care, etc. What you do is you create a scapegoat. The scapegoat is the Tamil. You point to the Tamil and say that because of these people, because of their demands for equal rights, the country is going down, which is not true. I mean, we know living in Canada that the provision of equal rights, of human rights to all 4 citizens, makes us into a better society, not into a society which is worse off. But that is not what the Sinhalese government, successive Sinhalese governments have done. And that is what Saddam did too. I mean, he pointed to the Kurds and said, the country is not moving forward because of the Kurdish problem, which is obviously not true at all. Peaceful protests against discrimination were followed by military violence against Tamils as a strategy to suppress mobilization and install fear. This resulted in violent resistance which successive single governments sought to crush. With serial bombardment, forced detention, white van abductions, torture, rape, media censorship, and obstruction of aid. Under the current President Rajapaksa's regime, these practices have taken a more violent and gruesome turn. While the bombardment and the killing continues, while tens of thousands of people are being barricaded into concentration camps, while more than 200,000 face starvation and genocide waits to happen, there is very limited efforts, and all those so far unsuccessful from the international community in stopping what is a horrendous loss of civilian life. The reaction of the international community, while not as apathetic as was shown in the recent picture with regard to the massacre and the genocide of the Kurds, it has been a little better as far as we are concerned, but there has been no concrete action. There has been condemnation, there have been statements against the Sinhalese governments, there have been calls to ceasefire, but nothing has been done for them to do actually something concrete in order to stop this genocide. The world must step in. The diaspora Tamil community is protesting worldwide for the international community to act fast before it is too late. Now, before I'd like to conclude, but I'd like to make 2 points before I do so. One is, it is quite possible that the majority community of Sri Lanka may eradicate all signs of Tamil demands for self-determination. But at what cost? I mean, when you eliminate the basic social infrastructure of a country, i.e. justice, when you eliminate justice, when you eliminate and when you make the servants of justice, the police, the judiciary, servants of their political masters, then you deal a fatal blow to that country. That the cost of eliminating the Tamils' desire for self-determination may result in the downfall of Sri Lanka as a nation. Sri Lanka may end up as a failed nation, as there are a number of nations in the world today, as a result of the single-minded genocidal activities of the current government. You cannot eliminate this basic infrastructure from a country and not pay the price. That is what Saddam did, and that is the price the Iraqi people are paying now. As their growth into democracy, their growth into a country where there is rule of law, is very slow and very painful. Why? Because when you eliminate this from society, this is the result. So there is always the wages of sin are terrible, and they will have always got to be paid. Now, what would we like from you? Why are we here, and what would you like from you? Well, first, we are here because we sympathize and we understand the pain that you have gone through, because that is the pain that we are going through now. But we also have a request to you. Now, what can we do together? If you agree that Tamils of Sri Lanka are a victimized minority who require succor, please help us. You can do this quite easily. As an organization, please initiate a dialogue with your members of parliament and indicate to them that Canada needs to be more actively involved and as soon as possible in imposing a ceasefire, thereby limiting the loss of life. Also, as an organization, you can issue a personal release indicating your concern about what is happening and the relative inaction of not only Canada but also the United Nations. As individuals, you can do the same. You can call or write to your MP stating your concerns on this issue. If you hear of a demonstration in city that you live, please join us and lend us your support. You have been through this, and worse, you know and understand our suffering. It is because it's exactly what you have gone through. So please lend us a helping hand. And once again, on behalf of the Canadian Tamil Congress, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. And I wish the people and I wish the region of Kurdistan all the best as it goes forward as a beacon of democracy and fulfillment in a war-torn area. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cunningham, for your speech. We really appreciate you coming today. We, as a Kurdish League Against Genocide, support the solidarity of the Tamil people towards their freedom and their self-determination, and we strongly condemn the brutal actions by the government of Sri Lanka against the Tamil people. Thank you very much.